hearing parents say that they don't get to any kind of connotation. But of course, what you are saying and what people around us and the experts, cricket experts are saying, that this has a political connotation, this has a context, and that's why this should not be...
Just hold your thought at the moment, because I'm going to get the latest from you. But former Indian cricketer Atul Vasan joins us. Atul, your first reactions, of course, everything seems to be hazy at the moment because multiple information all coming source-based at the moment.
Whatever is the penalty or the penalization has been done, I think it is under the code of conduct, and I think I agree with that. And I think if they have taken cognizance of the fact that the platform of the match or the press conference was used, and I think there has to be some kind of you have to pay for it. And I think 30% if he gets away with it, but he has made a point. I think we still come out the winner because we made a point by not acknowledging Pakistan. We didn't want to play, but we had to play for the ecosystem and for a lot of other reasons. But then again, when choosing that platform, I think that when he said and mentioned that, it actually, placated the lot of fans in India who didn't want India to play Pakistan. So I think when he dedicated the victory to them, the point was made. So I think if he has to just pay 30% for that, so be it.
It's a very interesting point that you're making. Look, he had to take a stand and he made the point. But if it's political messaging and the ICC wants to send a message on it, so be it. 30% of match fees is not a big deal. There's a point on both sides. One needs to restrict the political messaging on the field. But in this case, it was an emotive issue. He had to make a point and he made it. That's the way you'd see it.
Of course, I think that is what, and I heard the reports and all the media saying that he has put balm on the wounds and all that. But it was not enough. What happened cannot be just just be eased by just mentioning that the victory over Pakistan was dedicated to the soldiers and everything, because it is an ongoing thing. But what Pakistan retaliated with was actually a joke. So I think they, by making those gestures and not walking the talk, at least we won the game. So we had the bragging rights that we can talk about it. But they are just doing and just, retaliating and not even just carrying on that same fervor or that aggression by winning or doing something on the field.
Atul, I just want to ask you, now that this is all water under the bridge, some would say, fine, all sides have made their point, but about the influence, and this is an extremely emotive issue, right? So India-Pak encounters are emotive in many different ways, on the field, off the field. But at some point of time, we need to get back to just focusing on cricket. We've all made the points. Would you believe that it's time that the focus now is on cricket, where we seem to be absolutely dominant on the field?
I think from India's side, the Indian team, I can speak for them because they are totally focused on the job in hand. Because this is just not more than cricket for us. Yes, it is the outside narrative and the sound. It seems like we are talking more about things around the cricket than the cricket, because as it is, we are much better and we have brushed them aside. But now that they reached the final, it is more pressure on them because they carry this monkey on the shoulder of this match being more than a cricket match. And I think if they come with the same feeling, they will be again thrashed by India, because India and Indian ecosystem, Indian players are very mature and they've been there, done it. And I think they don't have that kind of a huge, baggage that they have to win this game. And it means more. If they win the game, it means more than just winning the game.
Right, it means more than just winning the game. Coming from a former India cap, thanks very much, Atul Vasan. Yes, the players are extremely mature. Hope the surround sound and the surround ecosystem will also be very mature and enjoy the cricket that's playing out. Sorry, before I let you go, Atul, you've been so close to Indian cricket for so many years. What would be your message to the players at this stage? Not just to the Indian players, to the Pakistani players as well. Atul Vasan there. Sorry, we seem to have lost the connection with Atul Vasan. Vimal, just give us a sense of what you're picking up from the players, because at some point of time, some would argue that there needs to be a lid on this and just focus on cricket on the field.
Indian team is focused and highly focused on this game, because India-Pakistan match is, as you said, always is all about emotions and controlling emotions and tension and pressure. And the Indian team is far more skilled and far more better side than Pakistan. So they are, of course, focusing on the skills and focusing on their game. And they would, if they play their 50% or 70% of their potential, they are certainly going to lift the trophy for the ninth time.
Right, and anything further that you can tell us from the team itself? Has there been a reaction that you've picked up, even if it's off the record, from those in the team, either here or on the Pakistani side?
No, see, I mean, Indian players, we meet every day when they come for practice and all, and they certainly only talk about their game set and their game skills. They talk about their own thing. Their little, sometimes they are humorous, like Hardik Pandya, Kuldeep Yadav, Rinku Singh, all of them. Either they are humorous or they talk about something about the game. They don't want to carry any kind of pressure and burden to the match, to the field. And I can talk about Indian team. We saw a couple of practice sessions of Pakistan side also. But we also saw, the interior minister, the PCB chairman, Mohsin Naqvi coming to the ground, and they're also Iris Rao was showing 6-0 gesture and all. So, of course, they are not playing cricket at the moment, and Indian team is certainly completely 100% focused on cricket. So, this is the difference between the two sides, and I hope in the final, both of them, both the teams come with utmost focus for the game and to some kind of, tribute to the crowd which is coming in 44 degrees centigrade heat, and this kind of temperature. If they are coming, they should completely focus on game. That's how they will give some contribution to the game itself.
Right, Vimal, you keep close watch of the cricket there. Shiv Arur joins me from the newsroom as well. Shiv, we just had Atul Vasan, former Indian cricketer, speaking to us, who said, look, Surya Kumar Yadav made a point. It was a needed emotional point to be made to Indian fans across the board. 30% match fine, we'll take it in our stride, so be it. As far as political messaging is concerned, we had to make the point, we made it. Let's just take the fine as part of our stride.
Well, that's a very technical argument, and former cricketers will obviously have to play it safe because there are all kinds of other considerations. But given the tensions through which a decision was made to go through a multilateral tournament at a time when there are all these hypocrisies over sports with terror, politics with terror, talks with terror, etc. Veera, as you know, the BCCI will have to answer for it, because at the end of the day, given that India chose to play a multilateral tournament with Pakistan because the Indian government and the BCCI allowed it to happen, it has basically meant that we not only provided a platform for Pakistan to indulge in actions that have similarly been fined, but the ICC has basically equated the actions of Pakistani players on the field and something which was entirely different, a tribute paid to terror victims, which is not a political statement by any stretch of imagination. It was a humanitarian gesture by Surya Kumar Yadav, being sort of equated in some ways and equally deserving of a warning and possibly a fine is preposterous, to say the least. And I think a degree of public anger, a degree of the questions that one asks will have to be pointed at the BCCI as well as the ICC. This is a degree of hyphenation, I would say, that is preposterous. It is dangerous. You had Haris Rauf being fined 30% of his match fee, being issued a warning by the ICC. We don't know if Sky is going to be fined, but he's been issued a warning according to the Press Trust of India. And if that is the case, and if the same measures and weights are being used against both these actions, then I think the ICC and the BCCI have a huge amount to answer for, because they are simply not the same thing. They're not even on the same cricket pitch. So I think we're going to have to wait and see what statement the ICC finally puts out, because as you rightly said, Veera, we're still a little bit hazy on some of the details that are coming out. They may actually change in the next few minutes, but at this point of time, I think those questions will need to be asked to the BCCI.
You're making very important points, Shiv, and it's an emotive argument, but let me just put a counter view across, right? We've decided to play Pakistan. We've made our point as far as this is concerned. Somewhere the lid needs to be put out to it because it's got to come down about cricket ultimately. Yes, there's always been surround sound when it comes to India and Pakistan, but at the end of the day, on the field, it's about cricket. Now, you've made the point. The ICC has to make a point.
Yeah.
Do we continue to feel offended by it, or do we just turn around and say, well, we've all made points, let's move on?
No, it's not an emotional point at all, actually. I'm making a very, very technical point on this. You're right, it is about cricket. Now that we've decided to play it, all levels of professionalism should be shown. I, in fact, am of the personal view that the refusal to actually shake hands was stupid and juvenile. I don't agree with that at all. If you've decided to play like a sportsman. All I'm saying is that
Absolutely.
the juvenile actions by Haris Rauf and the other Pakistani player, I forget his name, cannot be equated and equally deserving of a warning and punitive action as a captain of the other side dedicating a victory to terror victims. It is not the same thing at all. Sky did not name Pakistan. He just dedicated it to deceased fellow citizens of India who had fallen to terror bullets. They are not the same thing. That's the argument I'm making. I don't think it's an emotional argument. And I think that's the reason why these questions need to be asked. I agree with you entirely. Once you've decided to play, commit to it, play, shake hands, do everything you can, because the cricket is not a political battlefield. That hypocrisy is separate, and the lid, I agree with you, should be put on it. I am just saying we cannot equate the two actions that have been taken place.
You're making a very, very nuanced point there. You're saying that, look, Harish Rao's showing off the bat and firing cannot be equated to Surya Kumar Yadav, which is an emotional moment as far as terror attack is concerned. And I don't think any part of the world, terrorism can be condoned by any player across the board. You've seen whether it's football or across the board, people stand in mourning as far as terrorism is concerned. So that's a very, very important point. But I'm just going to draw your attention a little bit further to probe you further. Let's look at the ICC's point of view. It's about political messaging. Right? The ICC is turning around and saying we have to put a lid on political messaging because we don't want cricket to turn into political messaging, because you make a comment, again, as you're saying about the handshake, tomorrow the Pakistanis will do something else. It'll again result in a controversy, soiling the spirit of the game. So, a subtle message perhaps with a 30% fine is what some people are arguing. While not equating what it is, it would be very important, Shiv, to watch and find out what kind of action the ICC takes against Harish Rauf and the Pakistani cricketers.
I agree with you. I think in the public view, one tends to think that India can arrogate to itself a higher place as on the cricket field compared to others because the BCCI is so powerful. Indian cricket basically calls the shots as far as world cricket is concerned. And how dare anyone else be able to break rules, and how can India not be able to do the same thing? I'm sure there is some rule book somewhere which says that what Sky did was a violation of some kind in bringing in the politics. All I'm suggesting is, why is it politics at all? He's dedicated a victory to the victims of terror. There was nothing political about it. Of course, one can go back and forth about the fact that ultimately it is political because it was India and Pakistan. India and Pakistan were playing the match, and it wasn't really only a fool would think that it wasn't a political message. But if you look at it emotionally as a humanitarian gesture, like you said, on football pitches around the world, at the NFL last year, very, very famously, in baseball games around the world, black bands taking the knee. These are accepted gestures on sporting fields, and a dedication to deceased victims of a terror attack where the perpetrator of that terror attack has not been named, in my view, should be completely okay, I think. Even if Pakistan did it in some way, I would use that same measure for them.
Oh, that's an interesting point that you make there, though some would point to the distinction that he dedicated it to the armed forces for their victory in the operation that they carried out. So there could be some who would argue that the distinction from saying it's just about the terror attack rather than about the reaction India had to the terror attack. But of course, it's an extremely emotive issue overall. As you said, I think there was great maturity in India actually going and playing Pakistan and saying, look, we'll continue to play cricket. We won't allow cricket to be affected. But once we've decided to play, then I guess the on-field has to be insulated from the off-field. But I must, Shiv, I think we must put out to our viewers as well categorically, given the amount of information that's played out on this, that you and I are not breaking the story. It's come out of PTI. We're still waiting for official word coming in from both BCCI and from the ICC on the exact nature of action, what the action is against the Pakistani players, what their decisions are, what it is as far as Sky is concerned.
Very true, Veera. And I completely agree with you. You know, the ICC is apparently going to be putting out a statement very shortly. I can say personally that I had very deep misgivings that I enunciated repeatedly on air about the fact that we shouldn't have been playing this match at all. I didn't buy the garbage about this being a multilateral tournament and therefore India has every right to play, etc. I don't buy that hypocrisy, but I 100% agree with the fact that once you've committed, once you've decided to play the match, you should be following all those rules. The Press Trust of India has come out, with this news break. We're waiting for an official statement from the ICC, but I wonder if it'll be any different, Veera. Right now, it seems like it is pretty clear that the Press Trust of India, which is a very reliable agency, says that not only has a punitive warning been issued, but that he's been held guilty and there is possibly a fine that's going to be imposed, and that the BCCI has appealed against whatever decision has been taken by the ICC. We have to remember that Jay Shah is in charge of the ICC right now, so there's another layer of complications in this whole thing, and I'm only waiting to see what's happening already on social media at this point of time. This is going to become a big political story.
Right, less about the players, more about the surround sound. But as you point out, Shiv, you know why I want to wait for the ICC statement? Because sometimes headlines can be a little more sensational than the rest of the matter. You don't know the whole context and what they're going to say in their statement. I believe Rika Roy can also join us now live. Rika, you've been tracking this story. There have been several times that this has happened, but it's not happened. What's the latest you're picking up? Have you picked up any official word and any official reaction from the team or from the ICC at the moment?
Well, good evening to you. Good evening, Shiv. What I'm picking up from ICC at the moment is they are telling us to wait for a little while. There is going to be a lot more in the ICC release that comes out maybe a few hours from now. It's a very critical juncture when we say that a captain has been fined 30% of his match fee just ahead of another game that he's going to be playing in the next half hour or so. That's an important point. That's an important that timeline that we are talking about. It is possible that the ICC doesn't send a release tonight. It'll come out tomorrow because the Indian cricket team is going to be playing a match today from 8 p.m. against Sri Lanka. ICC is asking all the reporters not to go out and report random facts and random numbers. Well, we do understand PTI is a very respected organization, and they have said categorically that Surya Kumar Yadav has been fined 30% of his match fee, and that Haris Rauf has also been fined 30% of his match fee. And we emphasize again and again that it is not our information that we are reporting on air. It is information coming from PTI, but ICC has been categorical in telling us, please hold on to the piece of news because there's lots more that's going to come.
Lots more that's going to come, you say. PTI is reporting 30% fine, and we're quoting PTI and putting that out information. Remember, some of this is emotive in some ways. It also sets the narrative outside. Have they at least confirmed the basic decision that's been taken, or is even that going to be something that's revealed only in the final press release? What are you picking up from other sports journalists? Because every agency from across the board seems to be reporting what's been put out.
Well, Veera, a sports journalist can't be a sports journalist source. Having said that, I have been talking to ICC officials, and they say that what is being reported at this hour is not all. There is going to be a lot more in the press release. We don't know yet whether punitive measures have been taken against these two individuals, whether there will be more people who will be brought to question or not, because as we speak, other people are also being spoken to. We will really have to see how this news plays out, because as Shiv was mentioning, there are many layers to this story. It is not just
You know,
two, not just two players from three players from both the sides. There are officials involved in this. Remember, there was one tweet that was put out by Mohsin Naqvi, who's the Interior Minister of Pakistan, the chair of the Pakistan Cricket
there are
Board,
two
the chair of
countries
Asian
involved in it,
Council,
Rika, not
on
just
Cristiano
officials
Ronaldo.
involved. There are two countries involved, several journalists involved, enormous amount of surround sound involved. I wonder what's going through the minds of the players. As you rightly said, it's perhaps easier to be a political affairs journalist like myself because we can always put sources and find some speculative information. It's more difficult to be a sports journalist who has to be accurate with the information. Sorry, go on. I'm sorry, I just indulged myself in having to say that.
No, I have to tell you at this point, ICC is categorically telling us, please hold on, don't report random facts, because there's lots more that is going to come out in the press release. They are still awaiting certain replies. They're trying to talk to more people. It isn't just two sets of players. There are sets of officials involved in all of this. And Shiv,
Right.
mentioned about Jay Shah being the chief of the International Cricket Council, and that's going to add another layer. But my sources tell me that Jay Shah has recused himself or kept himself away from all the happenings. He is not even involved in the appointment of the match referee or the appointment of Richie Richardson as the person who would judge the entire incident, who would give a verdict. So he himself has consciously kept out of it, though we do know that it is going to become a big political story as things unfold. And
Okay,
there
you're making
are
a very
going to be a lot
important
of
point. Sorry to
questions.
interrupt you there, Rika. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. You're making a very important point as far as saying that, look, ICC is asking us to hold on. Just for viewers who are tuning in, who are seeing those headlines that's flashing on our screens, one says Surya Kumar Yadav, fined 30% of his match fee, given a warning. Just give us the context of what has happened so far, which are hard facts. So what was the complaint that was filed? Were called in and discussions. What do we know as far as the journey so far to that the news that's flashing on our screens of 30% fine for Surya Kumar Yadav? Put this all in context very briefly for us.
Okay, so this goes back to the India-Pakistan match that happened on the 14th of the month. After the match, Surya Kumar Yadav, the captain of the Indian cricket team, dedicated the win to the victims of the Pahalgaon attack. He even spoke about Operation Sindoor at the post-match presentation. Pakistan
To the victory of the
team,
armed forces.
he alluded to the armed forces. The Pakistan team did not complain about Surya Kumar Yadav until yesterday. They complained at a point when India complained about Haris Rao and Shahibzada Farhan using inappropriate gesture during the match on the 21st. Haris Rao, flashed signs of six love, alluding to the falling planes or the Pakistani narrative of planes being shot down. Yes, it was a Pakistani narrative. And then Shahibzada Farhan also doing a gunshot celebration, someone like firing a light machine gun. He said at the hearing, and I'm talking about Farhan, that it is a traditional celebration that is done in his backyard. He is a Pathan, and that's the kind of celebration that they do. What did Haris Rao say to the match referee? He said that six love doesn't mean anything. He even asked the match referee, can you tell me what does it mean? Probably the match referee didn't have an answer either. So he was not conclusive. He said both the players said that they did not say anything or do anything that was remotely political. Surya Kumar Yadav,
right.
well, he could not say that he hasn't done anything because his statement was on record. We do not know whether after the hearing there has been an action taken. We know that the hearing is over at this point of time. PTI is reporting that action has been taken against Surya Kumar Yadav and Haris Rauf. Both the players in this case have been fined 30% of their match fee. But ICC is telling us, hold on, there is a lot more coming because a lot more people are involved and they are being spoken to.
Important that you're putting this whole thing in perspective. Two things are clear, and this is something that I've been picking up. I'm not following this story as closely as you are, but two things. One, this is not a suo moto action by ICC. The problem for ICC is political messaging, which is absolutely banned across the board, and they don't want to use the ICC or cricketing platforms for political messaging. Now, it's a construing of what's the political messaging, and I think it's largely restricted to India and Pakistan to understand the political context in which this match is playing out. It's an extremely important aspect. We had Atul Vasan, former India cap, sharing with us, Rika, that even if the 30% fine story that's been put out by PTI is accurate and is finally confirmed by ICC, it's just a small amount to pay because Surya Kumar Yadav had to send out a strong message after all that played out in the field. Some would have believed that the not shaking of hands.
And Veera, for all you know, these fines will be paid by the respective cricket board. Normally, for all these fines,
no, it's not so much about who's going to pay the money, right? It's more about the symbolism. As Shiv was pointing out, it's the question of equating acts, and I think the surround sound is picking up. So there are many nuanced arguments to make, but some would say that it's perhaps time to put a lid on all of this and return to cricket on the cricket field, because India and Pakistan cricket match, as much as emotion it's produced some fascinating cricket, whether it's from bowling or batting, and perhaps not the best of times for Pakistani cricket, and India seems completely dominant on the field. Shekhar Vijay, sports journalist, also joins us on the phone line, I believe, right now. Shekhar, tell us what you're picking up. It all seems very hazy at the moment. Obviously, we're all basing this entire conversation on the basis of what PTI has put out. What are you hearing? Is there any independent confirmation that you're picking up?
No, I think, this is just a way by which Pakistan usually follows a pattern like this. Whenever they end up losing a game, they try to distract the opposition, or they try to distract everybody with such tactics or techniques like this. Now, in the case of Surya Kumar Yadav and what's been done so far, I think it's a case of tit for tat by Pakistan because of the no handshake policy which India had. I always believed, and I think a lot of us believe, that India shouldn't have played with Pakistan in the first place in the Asia Cup. Now that they have played and they did not shake hands with them, and and they've been winning convincingly with Pakistan. I think Pakistan has not liked it much, and they've been coming up with various reasons why they feel this is not right. They've gone and complained, and all these various things which are happening in terms of posturing, in terms of all the gestures which they've done. I think the focus should be on the game which is going to happen on Sunday, which is India and Pakistan, and then India should win well. That should be the whole point. But I think at a larger perspective, as Indians, we will support the Indian cricket team. Though I believe, and I'm sure all of us also believe that India shouldn't have played with Pakistan in the first place because they are just not an opposition for us right now. I think India is at a different level, Pakistan is at a different level. India as a cricketing nation has got a lot of muscle. So I don't think we should really be bothered about it so much. These are just distraction tactics, and I think the ICC will take the right decision.
Yeah, you're saying the ICC will take the right decision. Agreed on that bit, and also agree on the bit that the Indian team is completely dominant at the moment as far as field is concerned. Let's just focus on cricket a little bit. You guys, Rika, you have followed journalists, have followed cricketers so closely. I would have no idea what's going through a cricketer's mind. If you can hazard a guess in terms of all this surround sound that's playing, and you saying that, look, no, tomorrow India has to have a convincing victory to make a point. What kind of pressure will be going through the minds of our players at the moment? Shekhar, first to you, and then Rika.
One thing is, there's a coaching fraternity, there's a coaching setup. The culture of the team is really important. They will insulate them from all the outside noise they hear for the cricket team, that is. The second thing, the Indian cricket team knows what to do. This is a very young team, very aspirational team. This is a team which has done well so far in the Asia Cup and otherwise too. The third thing is India as an opposition is quite strong for all the other teams. I think if they just focus on the game, they will do very well. They don't need to focus on the outside noise. They don't need to focus on what the opposition says or does. If they just focus on their game and their techniques and their tactics, their batting, their bowling, their fielding, and keep it very simple, they will surely win. There is a lot of pressure on India, of course, because they represent the huge populace of India. But at the other end of the spectrum, also is the fact that they are playing a game which is cricket, and there must have been so much pressure to play the game because they carry the expectations every time they go out on the field. And with Pakistan, it gets even bigger. But I have noticed of late, all the games which India has played with Pakistan, India has won convincingly. Pakistan is not an opposition for us right now. They're not somebody with whom we can have a rivalry also. I think our rivalry is now with Australia, because that's what makes
you're right that it may not be the best of times, as I mentioned, for Pakistani cricket, but you never know on the field what happens on that given day. Rika Roy, I'm sure you've spoken to players. I mean, I wonder if you've been able to speak to players. Give us a sense beneath all of this, what's perhaps going through, I don't know about Surya Kumar Yadav, but about the Indian team, Indian players. I mean, what kind of emotions would be going around in their mind if you have a kaleidoscope into it? And I know I'm asking for too much.
Well, when it comes to India versus Pakistan, the pressure always is immense. It doesn't matter what kind of a team is fielded against India. Even if, it is the weakest Pakistan team, India will still be wary. And the same is true to Pakistan. In terms of the skill set, what we have seen in this Asia Cup, Pakistan is way, way, way behind India. Despite that, when India takes on Pakistan for the final match, and particularly when things like this have been played out in the background, there's going to be immense pressure on the Indian cricket team, and there is just no, backtracking that they will have to deal with that pressure. We've seen, certain gestures by other players of the Indian cricket team as well, like Arshdeep Singh. Though Arshdeep didn't feature in most part of the tournament, but we've seen what he's been doing, and all the other players will also be tempted to do things, tempted to, kind of irritate the Pakistani players, and Pakistan will be attempted to do the same. Let me take you back to the first press conference of Salman Ali Agha, the captain of the Pakistan cricket team. He was asked about the India-Pakistan encounters and the backdrop of what had happened, and he said that when it comes to an encounter like this, he is not going to hold his boys back. He's just going to let them do what they want to do on the field, because ultimately the aim for them is to win. The aim for them is to win the Asia Cup. So if they are doing something that also may not sound appropriate, he is not going to restrict them, because he knows that their intent is to go out and win. So Surya Kumar Yadav didn't say anything similar, but he of course knows about the pressures of India-Pakistan. He has a very experienced coach in the Indian camp, Gautam Gambhir, who's also very passionate about the armed forces, about the sacrifices of the armed forces, and it is in many ways what Gautam thinks is been transferred to the Indian cricket team, and that's how we see things play out. And Surya Kumar Yadav may not have been the one person who's thinking about operations in that camp. It may be several others who are thinking about it.
It's riveting what you're saying, because it's very, very interesting, all that information that you're bringing out. It's bringing a human element to this conversation from the Surya Kumar Yadav perspective and from the player perspective. Another person who knows players very well, who's followed Indian cricket very closely, Rakesh Rao, joins us. Rakesh, the other day you were on the show and you said, look, let's start right now to talk about cricket. Let's not talk about anything else, but we seem to be stuck talking about everything else but cricket. Just give us your first thoughts on this information that's coming out. And I'm saying it again, that it's been reported by PTI that Surya Kumar Yadav and Harish Rauf have been fined 30% of their match fees. There's no official statement that we have on hand yet from the ICC explaining the rationale or what they think of that decision. We'll have to wait for that. What's your first reactions to this? Because I'm sorry, I'm just adding one more point to you to bring you up to speed with the conversation we've been having. We had Atul Vasan here saying that, look, Surya Kumar Yadav had to make a strong point. He made it. If it's a 30% match, we will take it on our stride. What's the big deal? Let's now get back to focusing on cricket. What do you have to say?
Fair enough. I think, the very point is that if it is seen as a level 1 offense, yes, it has to be, the person guilty, if found guilty. If it is true, again, I'm assuming that the news is correct. Now, if it is seen as a level 1 offense,
we're all assuming that the news is correct discussing this.
Exactly. So because we don't have an official confirmation from the ICC, we believe the news agency, which is a credible news agency. And going forward, yes, if it is seen as a level 1 offense, yes, he loses 30% of his match fee, this being his first offense, which is okay. Now, if it is seen as an offense, but here what we are talking about is it was seen by Richard Richardson, who conducted the inquiry, and if he warned him, and then eventually if he has been slapped a fine of 30% of his match fee, that is all fine. Now here you should see why and what Surya Kumar said the other day. He said, I think this is an appropriate time for me to dedicate this win to the victims of Pahalgam, as well as the arms, and our armed forces for all the sacrifices which they made. Now, he never mentioned Pakistan. Now, what if anybody, anytime can just say, this is what is happening, current political situation or geopolitics, whatever that you call, anybody refers to that without naming anybody, and he wants to show his respect to the armed forces. Is it something that is wrong? Yes, he wasn't indulging in name calling. He didn't do any of those things. Even his gestures were very, very clean and very, very appropriate. Now, if Pakistan picks it up, it's like saying that you throw your hat in the ring and they pick it up and say, oh, wow, this fits because it's us. Pahalgam because of us, Operation Sindoor because of us, armed forces being thanked because of us, and so on and so forth. Then they went and complained. Where was the need for Pakistan to take it up? Okay, if they have actually done it, and on the field, their players already did what they did, and that was obscene. And I'm using this word very consciously because they tried to trigger the Indians. They wanted to just get under the skin of the Indians, Indian players and Indian fans alike. That's what Pakistan does, and they've been doing it pretty consistently. So if Surya Kumar has been slapped a sort of a fine, same thing has been given to Haris Rauf. That is all okay. Now, going forward, you think it's going to end here? No, tomorrow, as and when these teams meet on Sunday, you see that the entire environment, the entire atmosphere will be filled with tension like never before. Now, I just want to add one more thing here.
I completely agree. Go ahead. Finish your point.
Sorry, what I wanted to say is why this thing? Because when Kargil happened, we didn't play in 1999. Okay, when 26/8 happened, we didn't play in 2008, and so on and so forth. But this is the first time that within months of Operation Sindoor, within months of Pahalgam, the two nations are seen on a cricket field. That is where this entire thing has taken a new turn, because it's too soon for Indians to go out and say, okay, it's not a bilateral one. I mean, who are you trying to convince? Are you trying to convince yourself? That is all right.
You're making very important points there, Rakesh. You made very, very interesting points there. Thanks very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us, because it's a bit of breaking news that we're putting out at this moment. You've joined us on short notice. We'll closely watch how this plays out, because you're making a very important point. Does it end here? What's the kind of reaction that goes on? At the risk of being unpopular, Rika, I'll turn around and say that it's important not to show that you're strong, but just to be strong. Perhaps India, given that we've dominated, whether it is as far as a military conflict is concerned, whether we're dominating as far as cricket is concerned, now that we've decided to play, perhaps let go of all of this, not let it affect us by reacting and letting it come under the skin, and just let the bat do the talking on the field. We were talking about players. But it's perhaps time for the surround sound and the ecosystem to turn around and say, hey, fine, you say what you want. We'll do our talking with the bat and the ball. And anyway, you're no match to us on the field. Perhaps time to say that in a cricketing parlance and in cricketing terms rather than in words and political statements.
Absolutely, I agree with what you're saying. But look, Veera, we are talking about a bunch of boys who are very, very young. Young in terms of the experience of having played India-Pakistan. I wouldn't say they're young in terms of cricket because they have enough experience in playing T20 cricket. They're all a part of respective T20 franchises and they're all hardened professionals. But what will matter at the end of the day, on the day of the final, is how each of them is able to handle pressure. And that is what is going to define where the contest moves, how the contest goes.
You're making a very, very important point. Young players, a pressure match of this nature, we haven't seen when, obviously every time an Indian goes out to bat, you've got a billion dreams that's playing out. Sachin Tendulkar famously carried that for so many years in the defining years of our generation. For this young team that's going to be there, out there playing under such emotion and condition is going to be very, very important to deal with in multiple ways. We've been speaking about this for the last 35 odd minutes, my friend Rika. Have you picked up any further information which is official, or are we still stuck to what those one lines that we got from PTI about 30% fine for both Harish Rauf and Surya Kumar Yadav of their match fees for the comments that they made and the gestures that were made on the field?
Well, as of now, we only have the information that PTI has put out. There is still no official release from the ICC. Of course, we are waiting for that official release. Now, since the match is beginning, the India versus Sri Lanka match is about to start. My understanding is that we'll have to wait for a little longer. There could be a press release in the middle of the game or at the end of the game, because I do not think ICC is going to send out a press release while the match is on. There has never been a precedence like this for hearings. In fact, ICC hearings that I have attended in the past, they have even deliberated on the matter for 2-3 days before sending out a formal release, before giving out their final decision. I also feel so. I had very closely covered the whole issue of Ravindra Jadeja, of Jimmy Anderson that had happened during the India-England series in 2014. I had covered even the Monkey Gate incident, and in each of these cases, ICC had taken, and these were all high-profile cases, you see, and these were talked about. They didn't have the political twist. Of course, Monkey Gate had a political twist to it. There was a great danger of the Indian cricket team leaving the shores of Australia and coming back to India. In each of these cases, ICC took its own time to give the verdict. It didn't come overnight. So let's wait. It could come in the middle of the match, but I feel it'll come at the end of the match. It could also possibly happen at the end of Asia Cup, and they may not want to distract the players anymore. So I do not know what the timeline is going to be, but clearly we have to wait.
But irrespective of what happens, I hope it's not a distraction for the players, because all this surround sound itself is distraction. I must just point out, Rika, there's some fascinating moments in my limited knowledge of cricket, very, very limited knowledge of cricket. I think one defining moment was Saeed Anwar's 190, I think, in Chennai at Chepauk as a young... I watched that. There was one of those fascinating moments. The other have been fascinating victories that India has had over Pakistan in every World Cup, big tournaments that one has seen. One celebrates all of this. I wonder if amongst journalists, you see, there's a lot that journalists also do to set the narrative. I wonder if amongst journalists, and this you can be a little speculative at the risk of not going wrong because you're a journalist yourself. Amongst journalists, is there a sense that we've had enough of this surround sound. Let's go back to talking only about cricket, and I only want to focus on batting and bowling. Is there a sense amongst cricket journalists, you guys are so passionate about finding the stats and writing about every match? Do cricket journalists come and tell you, no, I don't want the surround sound anymore, enough's enough?
Well, Veera, any journalist who loves a story will say that he or she is absolutely loving it. Because without this controversy, without the storylines that have played out, this Asia Cup would have been very boring to report on. And I can tell you, there was an article I was writing yesterday, and I pull out some stats that this edition of the Asia Cup by far has been the second worst Asia Cup in terms of cricket. 38% of the matches have been one-sided, as against 42% that had happened in 2016. So second worst Asia Cup in terms of cricket. Had there been no controversies, had there been no fight between Indian and Pakistan players, there would have been very little to report on in this Asia Cup. And hence, every journalist, I think, is loving what is being played out right now.
I don't know about that, my friend, but Vimal also joins us there. Vimal Mohan, I was just asking Rika something which you can stand testimony and speak authoritatively to. Have cricket journalists had enough of the surround sound? Do they want more of cricket, less of the surround sound? I was just telling her that there are some fascinating moments of cricket that India-Pak rivalry has produced. Some brilliant bowling, brilliant batting from both sides. Do you want the focus back on that? Do you think it's time that it's all happened on the surround sound? Let's get back to this. Or do you agree with Rika that journalists love this because this Asia Cup would have been boring given that India is so dominant on the field without this surround sound?
For me, the cricket matches are never boring, Veera. But I mean, of course, the controversies has their own place. I mean, these kind of controversies, of course, give us headlines and feed to survive and feed to thrive. And we get lots of sources, lots of information. We also see lots of patangbazi, which ICC, they have been calling me over and over again. They called me a couple of times saying all these news which is going around about the 30%, 40%, 10% fines are not accurate. They asked me to wait for a while. They are going to release, give us some kind of press release and information. Also, I heard a news about...
you're saying, sorry Vimal, you're making a very important news point here. You're saying ICC is denying this 30% fine story? Are you saying that ICC is officially saying, no, this is wrong?
No, they are saying, yes. They called me to say that these are not accurate information. That might be 30%, 10%, 20%. In fact, they read NDTV. NDTV is an online thing, and they said, Ki Vimal sir, are you running 100% fine for Surya? I said, no. I mean, we ran through our sources that it is 15 to 20% for Surya and 50% Rauf, which another ACC official said that 30% fines for each, Surya and Rauf, and Sahibzada Farhan was let off. I mean, it was not fined at all for anything. But again, I mean, these kind of, I mean, we call it in Hindi, this is all called patangbazi. Log patange uda rahe hain, these all are speculative news. These are not accurate because there are lots of connotation to these news. I mean, I get it right from horse's mouth. ICC called me, ICC officials, one of the officials, I can't name them, one of the sources from ICC, they called me to wait for a while. But of course, I mean, what my sources are also saying that these players, I say Surya and Haris Rauf, they have been fined. What kind of fine, what kind of penalty have been imposed on them is still to be waited.
Oh, important news point that you're giving at the end of a 60-minute conversation based on some news reports. Vimal is reporting that from the ICC, there is no clarity on the quantum of fine. They are saying that yes, there will be a fine. There has been a decision to fine, but there is no clarity on the quantum of fine. So don't assume that it's a 30% fine. Am I correct, Vimal? You're putting the information absolutely out at the moment. I think there is greater pressure on journalists to break story than cricketers to hit sixers. That's the big lesson.
I'm standing in front of Dubai International Stadium. ICC officials are here. I went to the ICC headquarters, tried to meet some of the officials. I got directly called because they read NDTV's online thing and they thought I have written something like 100% and all. I said, you might have read somewhere else. My sources said this. I have written this. I stand by that. I stand by my sources. So they said, sir, please wait for some time. We'll get you press release and we'll get you what quantum of punishment, what kind of penalties, what was said in the hearing. All they will clear. But I can talk about hearing because I know what was talked, given, what kind of argument was given by Surya, what kind of argument given by the two Pakistani players, Haris Rauf and Saibzada Farhan. Of course, Farhan was saying that he's a Pathan and in Pathan they make gun celebration like that. So apparently he was let off. But Haris Rauf, he did multiple बहुत सारी गलतियां उसने की. So he was, of course, he's been fined not only for his aggression and bad gesture and also throwing the ball to Sanju Samson. But these are, again, I'm saying we know through sources the correct quantum of punishment and the correct information is yet to be, we are waiting for that. We'll get you the ICC release in as soon as possible. They are supposed to release, give us a press release and those kind of details in that.
Vimal, you've covered cricket for many, many years. You will get us the authentic information, I trust, eventually when it comes out categorically and officially. A lot of kite flying, patang bazi as you say, kite flying to all our viewers. At the moment, Vimal says that there is no categorical confirmation of the 30% fine. There is confirmation that Surya Kumar Yadav and Farhan have been fined, but the quantum of the fine is not clear. That's the story that we are reporting here from Vimal. We'll take a very short break here on NDTV. Of course, the news continues right here. Don't go away. Thanks for watching.
That's huge. That is a biggie. It's out there.
Gold Glass, Clear Glass. पार हो या नियर, सब कुछ दिखे क्लियर.
सैल्यूट है जी. आप देश की रक्षा में जान लगा देते हैं और आप घर घर में तार लगाते हैं जी. ई-बीम टेक्नोलॉजी से बनी, न जले न पिघले, सबकी रक्षा करे.
हम सरहद पर लोगों की रक्षा करते हैं और आप देश के अंदर. सैल्यूट तो बनता है जी.
अपार अणुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर. अपार देश का तार.
फिनिस्टा विंडोज, ब्यूटीफुल एंड ड्यूरेबल डिजाइन्स, इंस्टॉलेशन से मेंटेनेंस की लाइफ लॉन्ग कस्टमर सर्विस. आपके घर में फिनिस्टा नहीं है तो कॉल कीजिए.
फाइनर फिनिस्टा.
बहू, आज जो कुछ हमारे पास है सब इनकी देन है. एक अगरबत्ती की दुकान से इतना बड़ा बिजनेस खड़ा किया.
प्रणाम दादाजी.
दादाजी, ये तो पुष्पा अगरबत्ती के मालिक हैं, घनश्याम दास. इनके स्टॉक्स में इन्वेस्ट किया था, इसीलिए आज ये सब कुछ है.
जो आगे की सोचते हैं ग्रो करते हैं. डाउनलोड ग्रो फॉर स्टॉक्स, म्यूचुअल फंड्स एंड IPO.
और ये कौन सी कंपनी के मालिक हैं?
ये तो दादाजी हैं.
प्रतिभूति बाजार में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है. निवेश करने से पहले सभी संबंधित दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
Pulling us into this country.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
The best app to use is the NDTV app.
दुनिया भर में जब भी भारतीय मीडिया की चर्चा होती है तो एनडीटीवी सबसे पहले जिक्र में आता है।
मैं आपका बात से सहमत हूं, उल्टे हम भी जब विदेश जाते हैं, the best app to use is the NDTV app.
ब्रेकिंग न्यूज का जमाना है, सबको तिल का ताड़ और राई का पहाड़ बनाना है। ऐसे में जनता के जूते के अंदर फंसा कंकड़ कौन देखे? बड़े बड़े मुद्दों के शोर में जमीन से जुड़े मुद्दे अक्सर खो जाते हैं, लेकिन देश तरक्की तब करता है जब जनता के माथे की शिकन हमारी हेडलाइंस बनती है। मैं सैयद सुहेल भारत को जीता हूं, भारत की बात बताता हूं। एनडीटीवी इंडिया पर।
What we witnessed was complete synergy.
Army bakes up the genes in you to take on challenges, be it the battlefield or in any facet of life.
When we are using drones,
Showcasing the NDTV 24/7 Prime Time, presented by Schneider Electric, Smart Home Solutions as studio partner.
48 hours before the Asia Cup 2025 final, where India goes up against Pakistan. Who would have thought? The sparks are flying, and they're flying very, very aggressively. Fines are being imposed now on Haris Rauf of the Pakistan team, and we hear that a fine is also being imposed on Surya Kumar Yadav, the Indian captain, allegedly because he paid tribute to Pahalgam victims and dedicated the victory to them and the armed forces in that match against Pakistan. But what is the truth? What are the facts? It's still a story in motion. I will be clearing up that for you right here tonight. Thanks for being with me tonight here on India Matters on Friday night. I'm Shiv Arur. The big story we will be tracking in a moment tonight is the continuing mystery over the death of Assamese icon and singer Zubeen Garg. He died after he allegedly drowned in the sea in Singapore a few days ago, but speculation over how he died continues, and that's going to be a big story. We've got his last interview, a clip of which I need you to watch, and I'll be playing that for you tonight in just a few minutes. Also at 8:30 p.m, the big NDTV Focus news documentary on the H-1B visa crackdown by President Donald Trump. But we're going straight into the breaking story we have first lined up tonight on India Matters. Punitive action being reported against Surya Kumar Yadav, the Indian cricket captain. Tensions are flying ahead of the grudge finale. Fines, ICC hearings and penalties. Reports of all kinds doing the rounds, including from the Press Trust of India, which says that Sky will be facing a fine of an undisclosed amount on his match fee for dedicating a victory against Pakistan to the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack and the service of the armed forces in their actions against Pakistan, even though he did not actually name Pakistan. But what is the truth? What are the facts on the ground? This is still a story in motion, so NDTV is going to be very careful in reporting the facts
There is a bit of kite flying that seems to be taking place. Sources are speaking to sources. The ICC is calling journalists, clarifying, etc. But the Press Trust of India and our sources tell us that Sky is going to be fined for dedicating that victory to the victims of Pahalgam and to the armed forces. What exactly that fine is, what percentage, we are not clear just now. There are some numbers doing the rounds on the agencies, including the Press Trust of India, ESPN, Cricinfo and others. But here on NDTV, we are awaiting clarity from the ICC. I think we have... Okay, we've got... We have our sports editor Vimal with us. We also have Boria Majumdar, our consulting editor, with us. Vimal, very quickly to you, any official information coming out from the ICC so far on these reports from the PTI about punitive action against Surya Kumar Yadav? We are attributing it only to them. What are we hearing, Vimal?
See, I mean, Boria is standing with me. I mean, we are standing in front of the Dubai International Stadium, and ICC categorically called me to say that these all are patangbazi. They don't know the accurate, the exact kind of punishment. But Boria, I mean, what do you hear of this Surya thing and Haris Rauf thing?
What I hear is they will be both fined. They have been both fined, but there is no official release yet.
That's what we are saying.
There is no official release yet, so don't jump the gun on that. But from what I hear is Surya will be fined or has been fined, can be fined. Haris Rauf has been fined, and Sahibzada Farhan will also be warned. I was told yesterday by people in the know and a section here who were part of it that it was a routine hearing. I also heard that Surya presented his case very, very strongly, saying he has every right to dedicate it to the armed forces. He is very much within his rights to respect the armed forces and respect the victims of Pahalgam. My question is somewhat different. My question is, if Surya is fined, for a second take it that Surya Kumar Yadav is fined. For a second take it that Haris Rauf is fined. For a second take it that Sahibzada Farhan has been pulled up and reprimanded. Taken, point taken. My point is, why have you pulled them up? For provocation, for incitement, all of that, right? Why is Mohsin Naqvi not being pulled up?
Correct.
Why is Mohsin Naqvi, who has by the way tweeted again today? I don't think you guys can see the tweet in India because accounts are banned, but Mohsin Naqvi has provoked and incited the people today. He is the president of the ACC. What about responsibility?